Thank you. You guys have made some seriously awesome upgrades to this place.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like to be back?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Really, this place looks amazing compared to the dump it was back in the day. But that one little kitchenette area is still the same.
Yeah.
I did notice that,
is,
which I kind of appreciate.
It'll never change.
It'll never change.
Yeah.
That old crusty coffee pot. So
Yeah.
that was nice.
It was crusty when you were
It
here
was
too.
crusty.
Okay.
Exactly.
No, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming. I've been watching you for so long. I actually, without knowing it, I went on like a Rob Riggle marathon. I had watched Step Brothers, The Hangover, and just lots of episodes of Modern Family. And I felt wild because I was like, man, is something going on in my life where the same person is in everything? Like,
yeah, I think you could write a thesis on that. I think someone did write a thesis on like Michael Caine. You know, at any given time you can catch a Michael Caine film.
Oh, you're blowing my mind.
Yeah, exactly. We're about to get Matrix level weird. Yeah.
Oh, so you have this book, and you are not only, a veteran of the Daily Show, but Marine Corps veteran and everything. I'm curious, what is it like to do comedy and be in the military? Because in just my experience, really just speaking for myself, most comedians are cowards.
Yeah, people do ask that question, or a form of that question a lot, which is, the military and comedy, how does that jive? It doesn't. They're two totally separate lanes. But I do think that there is some crossover as far as like the intangibles go, the mindset. Working in comedy and a life in the arts, you're going to be rejected. You're going to hear the word no. You're going to be knocked down. You're going to be told you're no good. You're going to run into obstacles nonstop. It's a hard life. There's no money. That's very similar to the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of parallels in that regard. But I do think the Marines did give me certain things, like the proper mindset, the right mindset, that you just don't quit. Make that decision before you start, and chances are good things will happen.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because it feels like in the Marines you would get the sort of literal version of everything comedy gives you as a metaphor. Like, when I get knocked down, someone didn't laugh. I didn't actually get hit. Right. You know what I mean? Like that is wild, because even in your story, like your personal story in the book, it's like at 24 you decided you were going to do comedy, and so you made it work with the military, but at the same time you wanted to be on SNL, and you had like set this goal to be on SNL, and then you did it like at like the 10-year mark or something, right?
Yeah. It was, well, I was in flight school, and I'll try to give you the Reader Digest version of this story because it's long, but matter of fact, it's right here in this book, everybody.
Oh.
Just shameless.
Yeah. No, but
shameless plugging.
It is convenient to have it right here.
It is very nice to have it. It's so good. I was in the, again, Reader's Digest version. I was in the Marine Corps. I was flying planes down in Corpus Christi, Texas. I had a friend of mine who was up in Chicago doing improv, and he said, Riggle, this is what we did in college, only it has a name. It's called improv, and I think you're good at it. I think you're better than some of the people up here. Well, that's exactly what I needed to hear at that moment, because flight school was fine, but I wasn't loving it. It was just fine. And once I pinned those wings on, I was in for 10 years. I was locked in. Then I figured, oh my God, I'll probably do 20 at that point. Why would I get out? It's such a, So all of a sudden I was like, that's happening, Well, I sat down and had my quarter life crisis, as they call it. And I said, what do I really, really want to do with my life? And I said, I think I want to be a comedian. Now, mind you, I had never done anything comedically. I know no one in the business. I'd never been on stage. I'd never really done anything. But I just had this burning desire to do it. So I quit flight school, went to the ground side on the Marines, which allowed me to, fulfill my contract with the Marines, and then move to Chicago. And I ended up getting to New York, taking classes, working 7 years, grinding at every place around town, any place I could get stage time, studying with the UCB, all these things. Ended up deploying, going to Kosovo, ended up going to Afghanistan, working on 9/11 down in the rebel piles, ended up doing a bunch of things, and sure enough, 10 years, almost to the day that I wrote down in the book, this book I was reading at the time, I wrote down in the book, if I quit flight school, I'm going to do what? Number one, get on SNL. almost 10 years to the day that I wrote that, I got a call from Lorne Michaels asking me to join SNL. So it happens.
Man,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's like that's truly remarkable, because plenty of people have like plans, ideas for what they want to do. They might even write them down, and then 10 years later they're like, that's where I left that piece of paper. You know what I mean? Like you made it happen. And you, in the book, you talk about how there's like this sort of like inner drill sergeant that gets you to do the things that you don't want to do. How do you, without getting yelled at, manage to create that drill sergeant for yourself?
Well, I think everybody needs a drill sergeant in their life of some form, a coach. You can call it whatever you want to call it. And if you're lucky enough to have someone in your life external to you to remind you, hey, get up, go work out, go read that book, pick up the phone and call that person you're avoiding because you don't think it's the right time, or that if somebody's pushing you, you have a chance of doing it. For the most of us, we just don't have anybody pushing us, and you never will. That's what most people don't realize. You're never going to have anybody push. You have to be your own drill instructor. You have to be. So I've had many conversations with myself, and I learned that voice came out, and it came out in the form of a drill instructor, because if I was being honest with myself, I was being lazy. I was afraid. These are the reasons that I didn't do the things that I know I should be doing. And so it took a drill instructor tone to get me off my butt to go do what I needed to do. And I remember I was on 31st and 7th. I had just taught an improv class, and I knew I was going to be invited to audition for SNL. And I needed to develop these characters for my audition, but I was exhausted. I had been up, I had done PT, physical training with the Marines that morning since 5 a.m. So it was 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I was tired. I just wanted to go home and have a burrito and go to bed. And I had to stand on the corner of 31st and 7th screaming at myself out loud. So I'm not uncommon in New York, by the way.
Yeah.
And I stood there and I argued with myself, and I was like, go down to the UCB. It's open mic. You sign up for 5 minutes and just work out a character. I don't have anything to do. I don't even have a character. I don't care. Go make one up. I'm having an argument with myself, right? This is what you do. Improvise a character. Just come up with, I don't even care what you do. So I lost the argument with my drill instructor, and I went down. I didn't go home. I went down to the UCB, and I created 2 characters that night that I ended up using in my audition, and then I ended up getting the thing. But I can make excuses all day. I'm very good at it. I could have easily gone home. I could have said, I'll start tomorrow. I'm tired. Let's call it a day. But sometimes you got to kick your own butt.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And to me, it's also just such a phenomenal outlook, because now when I'm on the subway, I'll be like, maybe that's just his inner drill instructor coming out. You know what I mean?
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You might look at folks a little different.
I'll move with less fear. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So do you find that these sort of lessons that you took away from the military, and you were doing comedy while you were still serving and everything, but like, do you think that the overlap is like incredibly strong, or do you think it was just strong because of your approach to comedy and your personality? With
regard to me being in the Marines and
yeah, because the way that you marry these parallels together in the book is really interesting, and there are ways I've never thought about it. I've been doing comedy for a while. Like, we even have a bit of a similar track, except mine included no military. But I sort of, started comedy in Chicago, moved to New York, all that stuff, and did some improv classes and everything. And yeah, I guess there's something about your approach in the book that seems so like personal, even though you're applying it in this broad way.
Yeah, I think going back to, I think there's a lot of intangibles. I think it's a mindset thing. I think if you choose a life in the arts, it's going to be an uphill battle. And you're never going to feel quite satisfied, and you're always going to be self-judging, and it requires a lot of mental, maybe, or emotional fortitude, because you're going to just run into walls and obstacles nonstop. And you have to really believe in what you're doing, and you have to love what you're doing to overcome those things, because the temptation to quit is way too easy, way too easy. And yeah, and then if you get that mindset and you put a little, if you put the right ingredients in, I think good things will come. There is no secret to success. It's not a secret. It's what you would expect. It just kind of sucks. It's hard work. It's discipline. It's consistency. It's getting back up when you get knocked down. It's not taking no for an answer. It's just continue to grind, continue to seek every opportunity you can, continue to grow, find ways to grow. Don't let people define you. You define yourself. All the cliches that are out there, they didn't just fall from the sky. They appeared because of this has been tried and true, year in and out, year after year after year for millennia. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, I guess your transition fully to sort of civilian life from being in the military and everything you said was an easier thing for you because you had lanes that you like kept things in, like you had sort of mindsets for when you were in one thing and the other. Do you have advice for veterans who are having trouble with that like adjustment back to civilian life?
Yeah, I do work with a lot of veterans organizations, and one of the problems we're seeing with a lot of our Afghan and Iraq veterans, we have a suicide problem with a lot of our veterans. It's because they isolate themselves. They refuse to reach out, and it's I don't know how you want to classify it, but it's not uncommon really among first responders or veterans or anybody really. It's hard to put your hand in the air and say I need help. But that's the one thing you should do and you need to do, because when you isolate, you start a path downhill and it becomes very, very hard. So if there are veterans out there that are, transitioning back to civilian life or whatever and looking for, don't isolate. There's all kinds of amazing organizations out there to help you. You've got a great set of skills that you learned in the military. Just bring them forward, because they will apply. Even if it's not a direct application, just trust that, if you've got the fortitude that you learned in the military, it'll carry over into civilian life too.
Mm-hmm. I ask everyone that I interview, when we start to wrap up the interview, if we could do it in a way that is a little bit special, just you and I, right? And I noticed, from when I saw you backstage and when you came out that, you're a big guy. You're like a strong guy and everything. I actually asked them to make sure your seat was a little lower so we'd be more level. You know what I mean? And so, you're too big to arm wrestle. I got to bring you down to my level, but I do text a lot. So what about a thumb wrestle? Does that?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all right. Okay. Oh, your hands are huge. Okay.
All right, now do you do the whole count off?
We can do the count off. Okay, all right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I announce a thumb war. Right? Is that how you? And then I go like that?
I thought it was going to be the 5, 6, 7, 8 thing, but we can.
Are you going to use that?
Not. Okay. Ha. 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 No! Grit, Spit, and Never Quit is available now. Rob Riggle.